Hello, welcome to Toronto TV. Today we have a special guest from CCNCTO, Eleanor Mary Young. Hello, Eleanor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hi, Grace, my co-host.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Eleanor, can you tell our audience about CCNC? What's CCNC?
Yeah, so CCNC is the Chinese Canadian National Council Toronto chapter. We're a
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit organization focused on advancing racial and economic justice and creating systemic change. So we basically focus mostly on outreaching to Chinese Canadian community members in Toronto and the GTA. And we focus on kind of empowering them so that they can feel like they have a voice in the community that is heard.
Mm-hmm. So how many years for the CCNC history? Is it a new one or
No, it's fairly old, almost over 40 years old. Since 1980 we've been established.
okay? So and mostly for the Chinese Canadian, right? For the
Yes.
benefit of the work. Okay. So can you tell us like what specific tasks for the service you provide to those your clients?
Yes. So we have a lot of members. We focus on Chinese youth, seniors, and workers. And so a lot of the work we do is focused on advocacy and systemic change. We provide public education that is culturally and linguistically accessible. So this
Mhm.
information can be about anti-racism. It can be about accessing essential services that folks in the community may need, but may not be able to access, especially if language is in English. We refer folks to different types of services, including legal services, legal aid. We focus on community capacity building. So part of that is education based, but part of that is also teaching them the avenues that they can go to, especially civically to create change. For example, in their schools, in their communities, voting, things like that. We focus on coalition development with other community members, activists, and organizations, kind of creating alliances within our community and with other communities, so that we can all feel like part of a bigger movement for change and for justice. We also focus on research and report writing, and social and political advocacy.
Okay.
Sounds you have
So
lots of projects.
Yes, we have a lot of
Lots
projects.
of project and also lots of like a workshop. So where do you find those the speakers? They're from you or from outside resources?
hmm So a lot of our speakers are internal. So with CCNCTO members, especially if that requires like translation capacities. But we also do partner with a lot of community organizations. So we are part of, for example, we work on education advocacy, and we're part of a larger, broader organization umbrella with various other community organizations like the Urban Alliance on Race Relations, Tamil Canadian Center for Civic Action. So we work with other community members as well when we're focusing on bigger issues that, for example, impact people other than just Chinese Canadian community members.
yeah, and who pays your salary?
Sorry, could you repeat
So
that?
yeah, so in terms like you say, CCNC provides a lot of services. So
hmm
where are those funding from?
Yeah,
Where
so
they
we
coming
we have a variety of funding. We do right now. Currently, we're having a fundraiser, our 2022 fundraiser for Chinese workers. So some of our funding does come from individuals who do appreciate our work and want to support our work. That funding is always the best because again, it's unrestricted. We can use that funding for a lot of the different projects we work on. But we do work with a lot of other kind of corporate funders. So we work with the Ontario Trillium Foundation is one of the funders that we work with to acquire funding for different types of projects. So a lot of our anti-racism work in particular is done with is done with Ontario Trillium Foundation, because they're kind of focusing on anti-hate and anti-racism work, and kind of spreading that towards other communities as well.
I have a question
from?
about because I see you got a lots of project and events, right? So what is
hmm
like educational equality project? It's for like
Yes.
education between the families or students or their anything around in school or outside school.
Yeah, so the education equity project that we work on, we work with multiple other organizations, kind of serving mostly youth and parents. So we work to empower youth and parents so that they can feel that their voice is heard in schools, and we work with them to address inequities that they see in schools. So currently, CCNCTO works with Chinese Canadian students and caregivers and parents, to make sure that they feel their voice is heard in school. They can address anti-Asian racism in school. Their children are being supported in school. They themselves as parents may be supported as well. And when that comes to language, accessibility in the school. So they want to be able to understand what their children, is learning, or they also want to be able to understand what's going on at their children's school. And sometimes that information is not accessible, but they also want to be able to participate. So that includes like YRDSB, York Region forums, that might not be accessible because of them being delivered in a certain language, or them not being publicized to parents efficiently.
So it means like if the parents find something that the conference with the schools, but they cannot get got solved, so that we find some outside organization to help them to solve the problem between with the family with the schools.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't say we solve the problem. We work with parents and students to kind of help them identify problems. A lot of issues arise when students and parents feel that their experience is maybe one-off. Maybe a parent or student feels neglected by the school system. They recognize an incidence of racism, but they feel isolated, and they don't recognize that other folks are also experiencing this issue. So we connect community members and let them understand that this issue doesn't just only affect them, but this is a larger systemic issue, and we want to create systemic level change. And so we try to empower them through various steps, like writing letters to their trustee, contacting their principal, signing petitions with them, kind of getting the community support behind them. And from there on, we try to create systemic change with them, but kind of empowering them as leaders, because again, their experience should be at the forefront.
You mentioned about that you have a fundraising event for Chinese workers. Can you give me more details?
Yeah, so it's our 2022 fundraiser. So it's called Chinese Worker Solidarity and Empowerment. It's what we're focusing on this year because in the past several years, we've been really expanding our scope and working with a lot more Chinese workers. Especially during the pandemic, we spoke to many frontline workers who shared their struggles and shared about the difficulties of kind of working in such a precarious industry, in addition to facing discrimination, harassment, wage theft, all of these issues. And so once we published our 2021 Frontline Worker Report, where we kind of detailed their experiences, we realized that a lot of these Chinese workers continue to face larger systemic issues of marginalization in the workplace because of language barriers, because of their citizenship status, because of their age, their ability, things like that. And we witnessed a lot of them also experiencing wage theft or exploitation or harassment. And so we worked with them to see how we could help kind of amplify what was happening to them, let everyone know what was happening to them, and also try to help them empower others. And so part of this fundraiser is to raise awareness on the issues that face Chinese workers, and also to share a calendar tool that we've created, our 2023 worker calendar, which we created in partnership with a lot of workers, to help protect Chinese workers or workers who are in precarious industries. Basically, this calendar has a lot of Chinese information that may help workers find assistance if they need, find legal aid, get information on how to find a job, how to report workplace harassment, things like that. But also it has specific features where workers can fill out how many hours they work, what pay they get, so that if their employer refuses to pay them, they have correct documentation and are able to kind of better protect themselves in those situations. Yeah, that's a little bit more about our fundraiser. We're also weekly coming up with features where we have interviewed several Chinese workers and we're trying to share their stories, obviously very respectfully, since a lot of these workers do fear potential retribution from their employers. But we think that it's really important to share these stories because especially in the quote unquote post-pandemic era where we're kind of working towards economic recovery, we want to make sure that most marginalized community members are also working towards that same justice, and we're fighting alongside them.
What's the target for the fundraiser?
Yeah, our target is 8,888. So it's an auspicious number, and we're hoping we're about 50% of the way there. So we're really hoping in the next couple of weeks that we can hit our goal and provide as much help and awareness as we can.
So, let's say fundraising, how do people donate or contribute? Is there a website or email or cash donation?
Yes. So we have our Instagram where we kind of publish a lot of the information there. We have our website as well, which I can share in the chat if we'd like as well, but it's ccnctoronto.ca/fundraiser-2022.
So it's online donation.
Yes, it's online donation, but we also accept check as well. But in addition to donations, we want people to just share our information. We want them to maybe send our website to folks, send our fundraising website, or send our Instagram posts. Because a huge part of the issue is we just want to make the issues facing Chinese workers known. A lot of folks don't recognize these issues, or a lot of folks think that these issues only affect older Chinese workers or Chinese workers who don't speak English. They don't recognize that, we have international students who are Chinese international students who are 22, 23 and still face these same issues of wage theft, discrimination, exploitation, etc.
So what I see is that you just talked to one of the person that he suffered from the wage theft or discrimination from the employer. So what I want to know is that is there any union is popular in Canada? Well, there are many Chinese workers union who protecting them. Then CCNC do the same thing with that. Would that be overlapping of service?
So CCNCTO ourselves, we're not necessarily creating a union, but we do encourage Chinese workers to know their rights. So that's one of the things that we help. We have seminars sometimes with, for example, lawyers where Chinese workers can talk about their issues, kind of get one-on-one help, also can learn their rights. And so we have, for example, in our calendar, print-offs where folks can, refer to what their rights are, can refer to what to do in certain cases where they're being exploited.
My question is that, for example, like sewing workers, maybe sewing workers, they have their own union. So if they have any discrimination case, will they come to your own union first or come to CCNC? If CCN provides similar service, where that will collapse, of the interpretation of the service.
Mm-hmm. So we don't, usually if Chinese workers have a union, they'll go to their union representation, obviously. The issue is a lot of the workers we work with are actually not part of a union. And so they come to us for help in those situations. And we do recommend that if they're able to kind of build that power to create unions with their coworkers. But a huge part of what we do is just kind of educate them on their rights and maybe the importance of joining together as a community, and kind of having each other's backs even in the workplace.
Can I get a question? Just for curiosity. So who are you? Where's the CCNCTO volunteer come from? Do you need the high school students for the volunteer? What can the young people do at the CCNCTO?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. We're always looking for volunteers. So last summer, actually, we had a lot of our volunteers who got full-time work with us for the summer position. Obviously, students are in school during the school year, so it's hard for them to work, but we do rely a lot on volunteers who continue to work with us. So some of the students last year who volunteered with us or who participated in our programming continue to work and volunteer with us now. And mostly their roles are to just speak to Chinese community workers and let them know that we're out there, that we can help them if they'd like. A lot of their tasks are also to, for example, go to precarious workplaces. So that is sometimes factories, grocery stores, things like that. Hand out PPE so that we can make sure that Chinese workers are being protected. And also just hand out a little bit of information on who we are so that if they require, in the case that these workers require our assistance, they have our contact information, they feel a sense of connection to this community member, and they're able to reach out to us. Sorry, I can't hear her. 1 second.
Also allowed to follow the individual cases. Like, for example, they are really into the community to help someone, not just pick up the phone to.
Yes. Yeah, so a lot of our volunteers kind of know that they need to build relationships with these people. We really try to focus on, having community events where they can feel, where workers can feel like they trust us, and that obviously the information they tell us will be confidential. And we know the importance of kind of retaining that relationship because we do want to keep them safe, but we know that part of keeping them safe means that we have to build a meaningful relationship.
I want my son.
Okay.
To be a volunteer?
Yeah. So you're one day volunteer now. So
yeah, I can share that volunteer information if you'd like as well after.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll get you guys connected. Okay.
Yeah.
So TorontoTV has been reporting CCNC for more than 10 years. All right. Before you get employed like that. So that I think one thing is that all the good works done provided by CCNC, you have to make known to the public. Because right now, so you need people's support, people's donation. So then people have to get to know CCNC more before they will open their wallet and then give money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, what we do is that keep on your good work, okay? And Toronto TV, we keep on working with CCNC and to make Canada a beautiful country. Right?
Thank you. We really appreciate that. And yeah, we'd love to continue letting folks know about what we do and also continuing to interact with our community members, because I think the most important thing is our community and how the support we have in each other and the trust we have in each other. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All the best in the new year.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye.